Yo, what up? It's your boy Shawn from the Better Days Rain podcast, man. And today I just want to hit y'all with some stuff, right? Because I see a lot of people who come into recovery, right? And like they get dropped off by a family member or they get held to some sort of accountability that they don't hold others to because they don't understand the nature of recovery, right? We have target focused recovery to drug addiction, alcoholism, gambling, sex addictions, things like that. What people don't understand is recovery is so much more than that, right? Recovery is universal. You can literally apply recovery concepts to any area of your life that you're struggling in, and it works. Marriage, job, home, anything, your relationships, we get so hung up on the norms, right? And like when people come into the rooms of AA or something like that, they say, well, alcohol's not my problem, or when I ask somebody, I'm like, why don't you come to AA? And they're like, alcohol's not my problem. I'm like, bro, it's for everything, right? All you have to do is remove the word alcohol and apply it to whatever you're struggling with in your life, and it works. And it works fabulously. Yes, it still takes the same amount of effort. Yes, it still takes the same commitment. And yes, you really got to break it down and you got to look at every area of your life where you fail at. But it works. There is no doubt. Recovery works when you work it. If you don't work it, it never works. The problem is and this is what I always try to tell people, man. This is something that every single man, woman, and child is addicted to, right? And that is judgment. Judgment. And I think CR covers this pretty good with Celebrate Recovery, covers it pretty well. But it is something that all of us fall victim to, right? Whether in the rooms of recovery or out in the world, judgment is a real thing. It is a real thing that every man, woman, and child does on a daily basis, right? Because we think it's okay. And whereas I'm not going to hit you with a whole lot of scripture, I'm going to hit you with that, judge not as you be judged first. That is a clear warning to not do it, right? And we will always find context, and we will always find situations where we go, oh, it's okay to do so, right? As an addict myself, you know what I'm saying? I had to start paying attention to the red flags, right? Red flags. If there's a warning flag, you might as well just put up a stop sign. That means don't go there. Don't do it. Don't fall into that trap. Because it absolutely is a trap, right? And one thing I've had to tell myself as far as judgment, right? And in my head is every time I catch myself doing it, man, I have to go in there am I willing to bet my eternal soul on it? You know what I'm saying? Am I willing to crash somebody out or crash myself out forever over, something simple? So I would hands down say judgment is hands down the worst addiction of all time. It has killed more people. It has caused more suffering and done more damage in today's world than anything else. Anything. And it's the misuse of it. Right? It's the misuse of accountability and judgment that makes it a bad thing, right? Whereas you could absolutely use it to create healing, to implement correction, right? And really you can use it in a way to for your own redemption purposes, right? We use it in the exact opposite in most cases. In most cases, we're using it to condemn someone, right? To shame someone, to put guilt on someone, to create suffering in their lives. And whereas God tells us there will be suffering in the world, he does not say it's okay to cause suffering, right? So that's something I had to pay attention to, right? And going forward as a coach, when I use accountability in certain areas, right? I'm using it in a way to where it's all right, bro, you're slipping. Let's correct this. But not only am I going to correct it, and this is the biggest problem, right? Oh, ye hypocrites. Oh, ye hypocrites. If I'm going to correct somebody, then I'm going to step in and I'm going to walk with them. right? Like I'm gonna help them find healing. I'm gonna help them work through that problem. And a lot of us don't want to do that. We want to cast a stone. We want to talk our mess, and we want to say, fix yourself, when we ourselves ain't willing to step into the rooms of recovery. And I'm telling you, everyone needs recovery. Everyone. Our ideals and thought processes are so flawed today in normal life. Like, I don't see it. A lot of people in recovery will sit there and say, well, there's normies and then there's addicts. Like, nah, we're all addicts, bro. Like, every single person on this planet is an addict and has an addict mentality, and some are worse than others, right? But just because you got the house and the car and the kids and everything's going good in your life doesn't mean you're putting out some bad vibes and maybe doing some things to bring other people down, to cause suffering in other people's lives. So what I'm gonna say is, man, when you come into recovery, it's more of a spiritual thing than anything. And you know, we always talk about a higher power, right? So when I use accountability in ways that speak to my spirit, not speak to, you know, my flesh, right? Because almost always when I'm speaking for something for me, not only do I feel like I fall out of God's will, but then it's all about me. Then I'm back in that selfish mindset. And you don't have to be on drugs to have a selfish mindset, right? I know some extremely selfish people, you know, who do. And I know some extremely judgmental people who use it in the absolute wrong manner. And I hate to say it, but like a lot of times that's our families. A lot of times, and families, friends, and what we call non-player characters, right? They go to this instant place of judgment where they want to put a lot of pressure and a lot of guilt and shame on someone without owning up to their own, right? Which creates that gap of understanding between non-player characters and addicts, right? Because you yourself ain't trying to work a program, right? And let's be honest, right? The program of recovery is not an AA program. It's not a CR program. It's not any type of, you know, brand name that everybody's put out there. The program is life, right? And it's to be the best person you can possibly be. So I always try to create healing and focus on not creating more suffering, right? A lot of us want to use accountability crazy. We say, man, I got to hurt you to fix you. You don't have to hurt people to fix you. And in fact, loving on people tremendously is proven to work more than creating a lot of suffering in someone's life. Like, I don't need to help God, you know, do his job, right? It's my job to help lead people to him. It's my job to create to build people up to where they can hear God. A lot of us aren't even at that point. A lot of us aren't at that point. We don't hear God. We don't understand the message. And it's because us who do believe, right, we don't hold ourselves to the same accountability, right? We don't hold ourselves to the foundation because we ourselves don't understand it. Why? Because we can't get the words off the page, right? We can't get past the term AA, right? Really, it's just recovery, man. You just apply it to anything, right? So it's taking the words off the page and applying it to your life. And people will always say it's flawed, right? Because when we go into recovery, we learn all these fabulous things, and we do this deep reflection, and we catch this spiritual connection, right? And we start getting answers to things, and then we go back out to the world, and it's filthy. You know what I'm saying? It's filthy. It's hurtful. You know what I'm saying? There's, you know, people always trying to bring you down. So, and it takes more than just me to do it, right? For real recovery to work, it takes more than just addicts working a recovery program. That's what people don't understand. Like, everyone has to do it. Everyone has to do it. Like, everybody has to come to terms and look at the world that they're living in and go, man, we're living in a pretty messed up place. How do we fix it? Right? Evidently, the road we've been going down is destroying everything, right? We're destroying people. We're destroying our planet. We're destroying Christianity. Like, we are across the board destroying everything. But we still feel like we're in the right, like we're in the know, like we got some special, you know, lingo from God. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all flawed. The beautiful thing about working with people in recovery, and this is why I chose to work with people in recovery is because those are the ones who are willing to sit down at a table, look you dead in the eyes and say, man, I'm broken. I need help. Where people who aren't in those recovery rooms, they're not willing to do that. Like, they're absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? When you find a non-functioning addict, bro, I love non-functioning addicts, right? Because they want the help. They really do. They sit down and they start taking notes and they take things seriously. Functioning addicts, almost impossible. It is almost impossible because they still feel like they can control the situation. Much like normal people still feel like they can control how they judge people. It's not working. It's absolutely not working. And when we use these things in the wrong manner, we actually make addiction worse. We're tearing down more lives than we're building up. So today, I see it as a red flag. God told me, don't do it. Don't do it, because you don't know what you're doing. So I don't do it. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I do my best to not do it, right? And when I do it, like, I catch myself and I'm like, bro, red flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, back up, get up out of there, right? Because a lot of times we'll take that thought and then we will overstep our boundaries. We'll say something we didn't mean to say, or we'll do something we didn't mean to do. And then we feel guilty about it afterwards. You know, but after once it's done, it's done. The relationship's shattered, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody comes into recovery and we cast instant judgment on them, and boom, they're gone and they never come back. They abandon it altogether, right? And then you have those people that run around town going, lepers won't change their spots, they'll always be what they're going to be. You know, and that's truly disheartening. When I stepped into this to be a social media influencer, you know what I'm saying, and really try to be of maximum service to the community, I said, I'm only going to focus on areas to expand recovery into each and every home, right? And this is the way I saw to do it, because instead of reaching 10 or 20 people, you know, you operate with the hopes that you reach as many people as possible, thousands of people, you know, that you can be a benefit to the planet, right? So that's how you should use your same judgment instincts, right? To be a benefit to everyone around you, not to create suffering. When we create suffering like that, when we cast judgment to create suffering, we are in the business of creating monsters, right? It's the pebble in the pond theory, right? Where you chunk a pebble into the pond and you don't realize how far the ripple goes, right? When we cast judgment on people, oftentimes, bro, it's one of those things where they're not the only one affected. It's their families that are affected, their community that's affected, and especially, you know, when it's a parent that goes through this, it's young children who get affected, right? So it's very important that we take this judgment thing very, very seriously. For addicts, you know, people like me, don't play with it. Don't play with it, because it will take you to a bad place. We don't know how to use it correctly, right? So in order to not use it correctly, that means I'm not going to mess with it. You know, and I'm absolutely not sitting here trying to play God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like God knows what to do with people, and he's like, Shawn, I don't need your help. Like, I don't need your help punishing people and teaching people their flaws. I need you building them back up. I need you restoring them, you know. So I stay redemption focused through everything, and that goes with victims, that goes with offenders alike, right? I've played both sides of that fence for a very long time. I played both sides for 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've absolutely been the offender in lots of situations, and I've been the victim in some situations, right? Non-player characters will sit there and tell you, I hate that victim mentality. I hate victim. Well, quit trying to create victims through your flawed sense of judgment, and because that's what it does. You don't like victims, quit judging people, right? If you focus on building people up, you don't have to worry about all the victim mentality around you. But we all have to do it. Like, we all have to come together and really start building on people instead of tearing people down. You know, I heard this thing that Shawn Daniell said the other day, and it makes perfect sense. You know, 20 years ago, we fought wars against poverty. In today's world, we fight wars against poor people. You know, 20 years ago, We said we were going to fight addiction, people suffering from addiction. And today we do the exact opposite. We attack people with addictions. We absolutely do. We shame them, we shun them, we put them out. And it's getting worse than ever, yo. It's getting worse than ever. It's not, people are still finding it. God's still able to work through broken people, which is a beautiful thing. And I love seeing it. But we're not helping him. Like, we're making his job harder. And so, man, if I could say anything, focus on healing. Don't focus on the suffering part. God will handle that, right? And there's always one way. You can always ask yourself if you're doing the right thing. And this is the way I do it. And it's been working for me. It's been working for me. And that is, before you cast judgment on someone, ask yourself in your head, am I willing to bet my eternal soul on this? Am I willing to gamble the afterlife on this decision? Because when you go to a place of judgment, you have to be right. You have to be right. Because if you're wrong, you're going to answer for that. You're going to answer for that in big ways. Whether you believe in God or karma or anything, right? It all comes full circle. You reap what you sow in this world. You know what I'm saying? Your faith matches your work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And today, my walk with God and Jesus is stronger than it's ever been in my entire life. Because I started looking at some of these red flags, and instead of finding ways to say it's okay to do these things, I say, you know what, God? I know I don't understand how to do it, and I ain't messing with it no more, because I'm not willing to gamble my eternal life on it. I'm not willing to gamble tomorrow on it. I'm not willing to gamble my family's health, my health, my standing, my well-being. Like, I'm not willing to gamble these things anymore, right? I had to take ownership of my choices, right? And when you take ownership of your choices, just like you would take ownership of someone else's life, you will take care of it, right? You will absolutely take care of it. When you don't take ownership of it, it don't mean nothing to you. You will bypass it. You will throw it in the trash. You won't appreciate it. And you absolutely won't show it no love. When you take ownership of it, you will show it love. You will embrace it. It's a part of you at that point. That's all I got today, guys. I just wanted to give y'all a quick shot because, yeah, man, we can't keep living like this, bro. Things have got to change. And in a crazy world, I'm looking at everybody's talking about how the world's going to end. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's making these crazy predictions, right? Well, I stopped looking at the how it's going to end and started looking at the why. Why? And are we leading people towards Christ, or are we leading them away from Christ? And I feel in my heart that the misteachings of judgment for such a long period of time, it just carries a super negative connotation. So it never takes people to a good place during that topic. And the result of it is almost always suffering. Almost always. Y'all stay blessed. I hope y'all have a great week. Hope y'all had a fabulous Easter. You know what I'm saying? And stay tuned for the next episode. Appreciate y'all.